We are wrestling. We are wrestling podcast.
They give a shout out to We Are Wrestling on YouTube.
You're watching We Are Wrestling.
I'm the host with the most.
You are by far the least intelligent.
What's going on, everybody? Danny Huckins here, man. 1/3 of We Are Wrestling.
What's going on? We are Wrestling Maniacs Worldwide. Ben here, the third of the talk show.
We Are Wrestling Podcast.
Make sure to subscribe, baby.
We are wrestling.
What is up? We are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide. I'm the host with the most, the best one, Donnie. We're back with...
What's going on, everybody? Danny Huckins here, man. 1/3 of We Are Wrestling. The three amigos are back, man. We're almost like the LWO, but the white version. What's going on, Asian?
Oh God, yep. Damn, it was great while it lasted. What's going on? We are Wrestling Maniacs. It has been here, the third of the podcast, and man, as Dan just stated, the three amigos, we're back. All three of us together for the first time in almost a month. Yeah, it's been a pretty crazy last few weeks, guys, but we're back at it. And before we get into whatever the fuck we're gonna be getting into today, Don, take it away. Bars.
I gotta say, I missed Danny's random rants in the beginning. Like, it's always something different, which
It's
I
always
love.
something out of fucking pocket.
I feel like it's necessary.
It's always necessary. But if you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, and you're not a part of the thousands of subscribers, the best way to support us is by hitting that subscribe button now, turning on the post notifications. Videos be coming out of nowhere, like an RKO, and of course, you already know, the grind is real. It feels good to be back.
Hell yeah,
it really
man.
does, man. Like, obviously you went on vacation. You know, you had good family
We never
time.
left.
We never left.
I'm
But
kidding.
when around the time you left, me and Ben both had stuff going on or whatever, so there was a lot of lack of content on the channel. But I tried to pick up some momentum by doing a bunch of live streams, so that's good. At least there's stuff on the channel for people to enjoy if they want to look at my ugly fucking face.
If they want to check out your ugly fucking mug, and then I was over here pulling random fucking, I think extras. Extras are just like really hot news takes, I guess, or like
Yeah,
everything that was
doing
kind of coming
extras.
out. So, yeah, so we got something coming out. But you know, with the three of us, man, it's unreal. So it's good to have that consistent fucking flow again and bouncing off of each other, having different views, so they're opposing. So it makes it a little bit more spicy on this channel. So I'm excited to be back, man.
And here's the thing. I'm back from vacation, so now we have structure again on the We Are Wrestling channel. That's right. I'm your daddy.
Let's scissor each other.
Let me tell you something, baby.
So, Danny, I want to get your thoughts on Ben and Don Styles' WWE draft that took place earlier this week on the We Are Wrestling channel. So here's the graphic from both brands.
Let's fucking go.
All right,
I
let's
got
take a
Raw.
look.
He got SmackDown.
So Don Styles, the dickhead, and yes, you can clip and pull it on social media. And the Asian sensation is the red brand, man.
Yep.
I gotta go with Raw, man. Like you got,
Yeah!
you got Sami Zayn, you got Jey Uso, you got Bray Wyatt, who I'm a big fan of.
Yep.
You know, you do have a lot of A-game players on SmackDown.
And
too.
I also got a
So-
fucking few that would get a couple like switcheroos and some pushes and also different gimmicks, like I was explaining too, because it's my roster, my fucking chat. I even got Pat McAfee on this bitch, bro.
Yeah, although you have Veer Mahan, and that's it's always a no.
Always a no-no.
All right, whatever. But talk your shit. But whatever. Keep going.
But I have to go with the red brand, man. Like
yeah.
there's more people. this is no way of me saying that Raw's a good show because it's not.
It would be if it was under my control.
This is all fantasy booking. Yes, if the Asian was in charge, it would be a better show. Fantasy booking, man, all the time. But
this is like the prime example.
Ben's draft picks for the fantasy draft that you guys did. He has more people that I would be inclined to want to watch on the red brand than on the blue brand. But that's not me saying that Don's draft picks are bad.
No.
So I like them both. But I'm more inclined to Bray Wyatt, Drew McIntyre, Jey Uso, Solo Sikoa, who I'm a huge fan of. Kevin Owens, who the dude should have been a multi-time world champion by now. Like, I don't know. I'm just more inclined to check out Raw.
Notice,
like, who was on the show.
Notice, though, Jimmy Uso is nowhere to be found on either brand.
I love that. At least Don Styles agrees with all of us on that. He's an asshole, but at least he didn't draft Jimmy. This proves that Jay is better than Jimmy.
Oh, yes, always, all day. That was fucking awesome. I needed that.
Honestly, like, I got to admit, like, you and Don Styles did a fantastic job, I think, drafting both brands.
It was fun.
I really do see why you drafted the players that you drafted, and I see why Don Styles drafted the wrestlers he drafted.
I do.
Because one thing I did watch when we were watching it back was Don Styles refused to get any comedy acts, any clowns, and I see you got R-Truth, Veer Mahan. Yeah, Don Styles, he would never let that happen.
See, but Don Styles also refuses to open his mind and know that you could literally strip gimmicks and give a complete clean slate for a fucking person and let them take their own creative in their own direction. So I went with that route. Like I said, I'd give R-Truth like a Booker T type fucking push, give him the US title along with fucking Veer Mahan. I would have him fucking go for some gold too. Like I would absolutely flip it.
I would have made some kind of a change.
Yeah.
On this, I would have had LA Knight on Raw because I feel like him and Austin Theory would put out classic after classic. For the
absolutely. But that would have been a great fucking like Night of Champions type shit. Austin Theory versus fucking
they weren't picked really that early. I'm surprised. A lot of the people I'm very surprised. Like, I know Don Styles, this was funny. When he fumbled the whole Seth Rollins thing, he picks Brock Lesnar, and then he says, "Oh, you don't have a star." And then you said, "Oh, yeah? I'm going to get the Beast Slayer, Seth freaking Rollins." I love that. Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome. Yeah, you chose the Beast, but I chose the Beast Slayer, bitch.
I'm upset, though.
Why are you upset?
I don't see Carmelo Hayes in any of these picks, man. Carmelo Hayes is one of
he is. He's on SmackDown, bro.
Don Styles selected him.
Right next to right underneath Carmella. He's literally like at the very bottom, all the way to the to the right.
He's so small, I didn't see him.
Yeah,
it looks like for NXT talent on here, we had SmackDown. So Don Styles selected Braun Breaker, Sol Ruka, and Carmelo Hayes. Now on the Raw brand, it looks like Ben for NXT selected Io Dragunov.
Io Dragunov? It's Ilya Dragunov, bro.
Sorry, I'm not good with pronouncing names, man. Come on, you guys know this firsthand on the podcast.
Go back on fucking vacation.
Go back to NXT, you fucking Mark.
Newport.
You know who really impresses me in NXT?
Who?
Wes Lee. That dude's a phenomenal.
Dude, actually, he was if I didn't choose Ilya Dragunov, I was gonna choose Wes Lee, but I really wanted to see Ilya Dragunov go against Gunther on opposite brands with the fucking Intercontinental title on the line. Like, that would have been cool in me and Don Styles' universe. For like Night of Champions where the title can definitely switch brands. But for NXT, I chose Ilya Dragunov, I chose Ava Raine, and I also chose Veer Mahan and why am I forgetting her name right now?
Ava Raine?
No, Nikita Lyons. And I chose Nikita Lyons.
Ava Raine's only had one match so far. Yeah,
I know, but it's it's the Rock's daughter, so I want to actually make that blossom. So I want to give her a good push.
Yeah,
somebody,
so,
there's
so that
some
was our WWE draft from earlier this week.
this isn't part of the podcast or whatever. This is just shooting the shit before we get into the topics. So I hope you guys enjoy it. I saw a interview recently with a female talent from NXT. I can't remember who it was. I didn't really look that much into
I
it.
might know what you're talking about.
But she recently said that she did not want to be drafted.
Tiffany Stratton.
Yep.
Tiffany.
She needs to stay. She wants to stay in NXT.
That's
she
respect.
feels like she has
I'm
a
digging
lot. She has a lot she has to work on. So
Hey, man, I respect it. I respect the humble.
Can I just say about those comments about Tiffany? Honestly, makes me respect her even more than I already did.
Hell
Because
yeah.
I've already been a fan of her character in NXT and like her in-ring work. But for her to actually take accountability on the things that she needs to improve on and like really, go out and say what she needs to work on and why she wants to stay in NXT, huge respect for a young rookie like her.
that's
smart,
somebody
man.
like it's people like that. Like you can tell the genuine people from the fakes, people that are in this business for like the money or the fame or wanting to travel or whatever. But somebody like Tiffany Stratton, somebody that's like, she could easily go on SmackDown or Raw and make a really good living for herself, but she feels like she has a lot she has
Hey,
to
man.
prove left in NXT. So
What I love about the whole thing is not only is she humble, which is always a great thing in this industry, but she also knows, hey, if there is a chance that I could be a serious star and I could receive a massive push, I want to make sure that there's nothing I have to work on. Like that there's like I'm completely chiseled, ready to go. I've had my fucking callus, let's go. I love that. I love the mindset because you don't want to sell a half-baked product because we've seen it plummet many fucking times. She really wants to work on her shit. I respect that.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
I'm
that's
with
how a developmental talent should be, because we see it 90% of the time. Somebody from NXT will get called up when they're not fully ready because they think that they have the it factor, that they have the look. But then when they go on to the main roster, they can't adjust because they're not ready and they're missing some of those little fundamental things. And Tiffany, going out and saying some of those fundamental things that she needs to work on, I love that for her.
I'm with it.
And I think when she comes up to the main roster, when she's ready, she's going to have a very successful career in WWE, and I'm very excited to see what happens.
Hell yeah, man.
I'm excited to see it, man. But gents, we talked for about 16, 17 minutes going on. I think we should get into the topics, man, and talk some wrestling news. What do you guys think?
Let's fucking go.
Let's go. So our first topic, opinion for this week on the We Are Wrestling podcast. On Monday Night Raw this past Monday, Triple H revealed a new champion. The World Heavyweight Championship is back in WWE with a brand new design,
Fuck yeah.
and we're going to be crowning the first champion at Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia. How do you guys feel about this change with Triple H, presenting a new world champion?
Okay, so a couple points here. One, it's awesome. I love the design of the belt. I love that it's super reminiscent of the big gold, which I'm assuming it's supposed to be representing. It's that title, just a new design. They brought the title back, so to speak, but it's obviously a modernized version. I think it's beautiful. I think that it could be very prestigious. However, I think you need to be very careful as to who you're going to be putting that belt on first. That is history making again, because again, we haven't seen this title since 2013, 2012, maybe. So it's like, it's been gone for a long time. If you're going to be bringing it back and you want to live and build on that pop you got that night, you're going to have to capitalize on who gets it first. Second part. Where it's nice that we have the World Heavyweight title back. Why are we still on this dual title fucking Roman shit? Because if they throw it on Gunther, he's gonna be a fucking dual champion too. And I'm sick of seeing fucking dual champions at this point. I want to see the diversity again, because at this point they've squeezed themselves into a tighter corner with fucking Roman Reigns. What they should have done was build some kind of angle surrounding his reign and find a way to break those titles in half and turn the Universal back into the World Heavyweight title. they should have gone that route, because now you have 3 main event titles and not really a place for all 3. Because it's like, what? So one person's just going to constantly fucking hold 2 titles, and then one brand gets kind of like, oh, this is this new title, but it's not as prestigious as this fucking other storyline going on with this badass fucking dude who's had 2 for fucking 1,000 days. They backed themselves into another corner and compensated by bringing back a new title, not thinking about this. So I'm scared still. I don't know creatively what the fuck they're going to do with Roman Reigns. They need to break those titles in half, period. Like, that should have been the angle. So where I'm happy that the heavyweight title's back, I'm still kind of fucking pissed. But that's my thoughts.
Yeah, so obviously I watched the weekly shows. I watched the unveiling of the new title. Beautiful title. I actually messaged in the group chat, and Ben started to almost shit his pants and trying to get your attention, Donnie, but you might have been sleeping at the time.
I'm glad I was, because I was able to do a reaction Tuesday morning without seeing the championship. So the reaction on the We Are Wrestling channel of me seeing the title for the first time was genuine and 100% real.
Yeah.
Yep. So here's my thoughts, man, and I do feel the same way as Ben in a lot of cases. Having Roman have 2 titles and then unveiling this new one, it almost seems like, because obviously, you know, they're still giving Roman this dominating run, this really lengthy title run that he's on. It does, like, a lot of people have considered this new title as a consolation prize. You know, with Roman having the Universal title and WWE title, and, you know, combining them pretty much, it's already taken a lot of prestige away from this new title.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as I know, I originally was under the impression that they were going to strip maybe the WWE title away from Roman, have him keep the Universal title, because that's like the title that he first won. And having this new World Heavyweight title, and that way you have 2 titles but separate. Turns out that's not the case. They're going to keep both the titles on Roman. And Roman's going to keep the titles with whatever brand he gets drafted to, pretty much. Whether that's Raw or SmackDown, more than likely SmackDown, because he doesn't like working Mondays.
Just like Triple H on Tuesdays.
Here's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that we continue this storyline between him and Cody. I'm hoping Cody beats him at SummerSlam. I'm hoping with Cody beating him, that Cody keeps the WWE title, because that's the title that he really wants. That's the title that's synonymous with, like, his family legacy and his dad, and, you know, the whole storyline that's going on. And I'm hoping with that, WWE decides to retire the Universal title, keep the WWE title. That way you have the WWE title and the World Heavyweight title. They're separate. That's a way that you can do it. A very logical way you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So my thoughts on the new World Heavyweight Championship, I got to agree with both you guys on your takes. They absolutely make sense. And I really do like the new design a lot with this title. Even though it's the World Heavyweight title with a big W slapped on it, still looks better than the Universal, still looks better than the WWE Championship. But to clarify what you guys were saying and your concerns about the Universal and the WWE Champion, I absolutely agree. It feels like it doesn't feel like a world champion, because of course Roman Reigns has been, you know, dominating. He's been champion for almost 1,000 days now. And this kind of feels like a charity title while he's, you know, having this, you know, unbelievable run. And I think a lot of that has to do with, you know, the criticism that, you know, WWE has been getting because of how long this title reign has been. With that being said, with Roman Reigns, you know, having both titles, it feels like a charity title. And that's the problem I have here with it. But I think what's going to happen realistically, when Roman loses the champion, I think it is going to be one title after that happens, similar to what happened during the Ruthless Aggression era. So we had the time where Jericho won both, the World Heavyweight title and the WWE title. And then Triple H, won the titles. And then after that, they decided to go with, the undisputed WWE champion, which that was the title before the spinner. So I think what's going to happen is I think we're going to get a new design for WWE champion. And I think it's going to be called the undisputed WWE Universal Champion. I think that name is going to stay the way it is.
Yeah,
but I like the new title though. I'm excited.
I like it too. But the title that everybody wants, let's face it, is the one that Roman has held for almost 1,000 days. Like that is like the prize in WWE. And it does feel like this new title, it should be very prestigious because it is the World Heavyweight title. But it just seems like, you guys have an opportunity to win this because you guys are not good enough to dethrone Roman Reigns. You know what I mean?
And I think what WWE is mistaking in this situation is because it's the brand split, because we're doing a draft, Roman's going to be drafted to either Raw or SmackDown. And by the time this, podcast airs, we'll already know where Roman gets drafted because he's probably going to be the first pick. But here's where WWE, I think, is wrong. They think that Roman's going to be on one brand, then the other brand will have the World Heavyweight title. So the people that are on the other brand aren't going to be focusing on Roman Reigns. They're going to be focusing on the World Heavyweight title. But a lot of people don't realize, but here's what WWE doesn't realize. Roman's been champion for over 1,000 days. He is breaking records out here and becoming, a future Hall of Famer by doing all of this. And who isn't realistically going to want to take the titles off of Roman? They'd rather do that than become the World Heavyweight Champion in a little tournament. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But the thing is, for me, I know, I understand where both of you guys are coming from. The thing I like about this a lot is there's going to be more opportunities out there. And I like how WWE is actually doing a legitimate brand split. It's about fucking time.
They have the fucking talent for it now.
But
they've done a lot of rehires and everything. So
they've done brand splits before, and within a couple of months' time, they're flip flopping and they're going back and forth. And I mean,
but with this new contract, though,
consistent?
bro. Well, the thing is, though, with this new contract with the complete new owner, they're not gonna have a choice. I think what they're setting up now is gonna be the longevity of the future for a while because they're going to want a specific suit for their programming. And I think that's what they're going for.
And that's the thing. There's a lot of Triple H guys. And I know Triple H creatively, he came from, the Attitude Era, but also he was a main key player in Ruthless Aggression. And he knows what can happen when you have a bunch of new guys. Ben and I, we really grew up watching Ruthless Aggression. And we saw lots of, new characters on our screen. And with a brand split, Raw and SmackDown, this is the perfect way to get a lot of these Triple H guys over because you're not going to be seeing the same people every single show. And especially with one of our, reports that we're going to be talking about this week, they're talking about having the pay-per-views back, exclusive to Raw, exclusive to SmackDown. Yeah. This is fantastic, especially with Triple H's takeover mindset, doing 5 or 6 matches a pay-per-view or premier live event. This is fantastic.
Yeah. But doing this brand exclusive stuff, don't you think that'll be a little bit hard for Triple H? You know what I mean?
No, not at all.
This is going to be a lot easier, if anything.
That and it's going to be so much better in terms of premium brand exclusive content, especially when it comes to pay-per-views like No Way Out, fucking Armageddon and shit like that, where it was exclusively X, Y, and Z.
Yeah,
you were able to craft perfect storylines and long-term storytelling by going by that criteria. Because then you can focus on your brand and not have to worry about shit colliding and then randomly having, for example, Rhea Ripley, part of the Judgment Day. She's SmackDown Women's Champion now. that would interfere if she was put on a separate brand and then she's massively just gone from Judgment Day, and then it's gonna look like ass and there was no closure there. So it's ways to prevent that stuff too. So with this draft, it's a complete clean slate, new time to just go into a whole new era, which they're doing. So I feel like this is going to be easier rather. This is going to be a lot more satisfying for fans, so they're not having to be like, well, shit, a guy from SmackDown is on fucking Raw tonight, and I can't fucking do that because I can't fucking watch it because I craft my whole life around fucking Raw. Like, this is where it's going to get easier for him. So I feel like it's going to pay off in the long run a lot more.
So with that being said, I say we get into, the next topic that kind of leads into what we're talking about. So, WWE is reportedly considering bringing back exclusive brand premiere live events. According to WRKD Wrestling, one format being discussed after the announcement of the draft and the introduction to the new World Heavyweight Championship on Monday Night Raw is the idea of potential brand exclusive premiere live events. Should WWE do this?
Yes. And we just discussed it.
Yeah,
Yes.
pretty much. I think they should. I do think it can work. Are they gonna rebrand all the pay-per-views though?
I think, here's what I saw in the report. So
I heard there's some returning.
There's going to be pay-per-views once a month. Raw gets a pay-per-view, SmackDown gets a pay-per-view, and then there's going to be 5 premier live events where it's both brands.
Yeah,
I'm
the big
assuming
5.
it's going to be Royal
SummerSlam,
Rumble,
Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania,
and Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
I think those are going to be the 5, definitely.
And
Yeah,
it
'cause
makes sense.
Money in the Bank is like one of the big 5 now.
Yeah, no, it definitely is one of the 5, and especially with the Money in the Bank having, the brand split, you're going to want the Money in the Bank contract to, be on both brands because it adds more to
Suspense.
storylines and opportunities to, make a superstar. Like, for example, Edge. He won his Money in the Bank at WrestleMania 21. He became a star at New Year's Revolution 2006, Albany, New York, cashed in on John Cena, became the rated R superstar.
Mhm.
Now, I have a question for you guys regarding this brand split. Now, obviously, we have SmackDown exclusive champions and Raw exclusive champions. Do you think it's automatic that they're gonna stay on their brand, or do you think that they're gonna say Bianca Belair, she's Raw champion, Raw Women's champion, she gets drafted to SmackDown? Do you think her and Rhea are gonna swap
Yes.
titles? Or
Yep.
100%.
It's just not going to end as horribly as fucking Charlotte and Becky.
because they wouldn't be able to have Rhea and Bianca on the same because
No,
they're
they
both
wouldn't.
champions.
No, precisely. But if they were to draft, they would swap titles.
One thing I really want, though, out of these, women world champions, I want one of them to have a different design. Why did they have to be the same?
Yeah, I want them to get rid of both keep one set of the tag titles, but get rid of the other ones, or split them, or do something, bro. I can't do this whole if they look ridiculous each holding 2 titles, and the titles aren't even good looking.
Yeah, the Usos are the only ones that actually made the titles look somewhat decent. At least that design. But we're all happy that they're not the champions right now. But honestly, with the tag teams, this is something that I've been thinking about a lot. And I feel like WWE doesn't have a very strong tag team division. And that's why, personally, I would have the tag team champions go to both Raw and SmackDown instead of having 2 different divisions. Because I feel like it's not strong enough. Especially the women tag team champions. They need to just scrap those.
Yeah.
But guys, we'll be right back with more We Are Wrestling Podcast. Saturday, June 17th, 2023, both Captain's Corner and Zombie Hideout are bringing professional wrestling back to the New England area with the Wrestling Classic 3, which will be a wrestling convention bringing in some of the best wrestlers throughout the years at this event in Springfield, Mass. at the South End Community Center. You can meet Hall of Famers Kurt Angle, Lex Luger, DDP, AEW stars, The Guns, and so many more classic stars to be announced on Saturday, June 17th. And for the first time ever, We Are Wrestling. We're going to be a vendor. We're going to be working with Zombie Hideout and Captain's Corner with this event. Best One Donnie has had the opportunity to go to both the Wrestling Classic 1 and 2. And let me tell you, the Wrestling Classic 3 is going to be like no other. And if you want to, have an opportunity to meet some of the best in the business, they will be in Springfield, Mass. on Saturday, June 17th. South End Community Center in Springfield, Mass. Also, the We Are Wrestling team will be there with a table. We'll be having merchandise, and we'll also be giving away some stuff as well. And of course, you already know, we'll be vlogging as well. You're definitely not going to want to miss this event. Get your tickets now. Speaking of Captain's Corner, the guy that is running the Wrestling Classic 3, he made some news this past weekend during one of his virtual signings with Chavo Guerrero. And during this virtual signing with, our good buddies, Captain's Corner, Chavo stated this, and I quote, "I gotta tell you this. I just don't understand why Rey Mysterio still has to look. We all love Eddie Guerrero, but we're not going out with his gimmick and our gimmick. It was Los Guerrero's gimmick. And to come out with the Los Guerreros, we lie, we cheat, we steal. And everybody like, oh yeah, keeping Eddie's memory alive. I say no, dude. I'm tired of people, and this is not a bitter thing. This is the truth. We worked hard for that last name. The whole family worked really, really hard to get that name to where it was. And we're tired of people proceeding it in a sense of using it for their benefit. So, Rey Mysterio. I'm sorry that no one knows who Rey Mysterio Sr. is. Rey Mysterio Jr., no one knows who he is. And I'm sorry that you had to latch on the Guerrero family, and we're just kind of tired of it. So, thank you for keeping Eddie's name alive. Thank you for keeping the Guerrero's name alive, but we don't need you. We're good. You know what I'm saying? Then, later on, after that statement, he's been trolling people on Twitter the past week, and then he posted, "This is how a heel should tweet. Hook, line, and sinker. I still got it." How do you feel about Chavo Guerrero trolling the entire IWC?
It's clever. If it was a work, it was clever. I mean,
Isn't
it's kind of unnecessary because, I mean, again, Chavo Guerrero is not really like it anymore, but that, not bad, I guess, you know. Like, it was in good taste, you know, because like we already know that they're like super happy about what they're doing, you know, with Eddie Guerrero's like shit that, you know, that happened at WrestleMania and everything. Like, obviously, like everybody, including Chavo, is fucking pumped about it. We already all know that. So for him to go out and say that and then people actually bite into the apple just kind of proves how dumb a human race we are. So I mean, yeah, he still got it. He still got it. So I'm kind of with it. I'm kind of with it.
How do you feel, Danny, about this whole Chavo Guerrero stint?
Chavo has always somewhat been a
Chavo.
I was waiting for somebody to do that. I wanted to be the one to do it, but I let you do it.
Chavo's always been somewhat of a, you know, a troll, even when he was Kerwin White, you know, the golfer gimmick back in the day.
Kerwin White.
If it's not white, it's not right.
Oh my god.
That was such a good character. That was such a good ruthless aggression character.
Yeah.
But
Maybe not for Chavo.
Isn't Rey Mysterio Jr. Rey Mysterio, or am I getting a mix?
No, he is that. It is the same person.
No, Rey Mysterio Sr., that's his dad.
Yeah, Rey Mysterio Jr. He started as and then just went Rey Mysterio when he joined WWE.
Yeah, but Chavo
He was junior in WCW.
Chavo in the interview or whatever was like, yeah, nobody knows who Rey Mysterio Jr. is. Well, apparently he just got inducted in the Hall of Fame, so.
Yeah, so the fact that he even said that openly, people were still like, "Fuck you, man!" Like, yeah, like it's hilarious. So I'm not mad about it.
Chavo's doing what any guy in his position would do, bro. Like, obviously,
Could you
you've seen-
imagine if Eddie Guerrero was still around? Do you imagine what his tweets would look like? Fuck.
Eddie is probably up in heaven right now, laughing his ass off with this entire thing.
Bro, could you imagine what Eddie Guerrero would be like if he was on Twitter?
That's what I'm saying. I literally just said that. Like Eddie Guerrero on Twitter would be fucking hilarious. It would be fucking hilarious, dude.
I lied.
Everything would end with essay.
You think the fucking Iron
Holmes.
Sheik is bad, man? Jesus Christ.
Dude,
Eddie would
Guerrero
have
would be
so much
saying
fun
some
on Twitter.
savage shit.
But I mean, Chavo's doing what anybody in his position would do. He knows that the Guerrero name is really hot right now because obviously the whole Dominic and Rey Mysterio thing, and obviously, Rey and Dominic before this they were very synonymous with the custody battle back in 2005.
That shit was great, man. That storyline was
know,
fire.
So good.
And obviously, with LWO now, like at the start of their music, they have the intro of Eddie's music now. So, attached to their entrance. So, the Guerrero name is hot. He's taking full advantage trying to get his name out there. I mean, do you realize how much money the dude can charge for fucking appearances now? Because
Yeah.
his name is fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
Like the dude
Exactly.
just nobody can say he's not a smart businessman.
It was so good hearing Eddie's fucking music again at Mania. Last thing I wanted to say.
So, my thoughts on this. The best part about this whole Chavo Guerrero thing is Captain's Corner has been all over the IWC. Because, of course, with all these wrestling articles and sites, they have to, do the whole according to, and they're doing the Captain's Corner, which, for Captain's Corner, I love that for him. Like, he absolutely deserves it. Does a fantastic job with all these virtual signings and, bringing some of, best wrestlers in our area at wrestling shows and stuff. So I love that he's getting this, publicity. And, man, Chavo Guerrero, I loved what he did. I love when the IWC gets pissed.
I gotta ask you, man, since Captain's Corner is involved in this whole thing, that's where the statements came out. What are the likelihood that he gets Chavo for the Wrestling Classic?
Definitely could be a possibility.
That'd be pretty fucking crazy,
Captain's
man.
Corner, he does a really fantastic job with, the virtual signings. Whenever, he brings talent in for these events, they have nothing but positive things to say about him. Like, he treats them so good. And why a lot of these, wrestling legends, a lot of them will come to multiple wrestling classics and come to the area more because of how well, Captain's Corner treats them. But now, back to my thoughts on Chavo Guerrero. I loved every second of this. I was on his Twitter, while all this was happening. And then, he would reply to, haters, and, they would be to him. They would go, "Oh, freaking Eddie has always talked high of him." And then Chavo would say, "No, he didn't." Little things like that. And then people would go dive deep into the internet to find Eddie Guerrero when he left WWE praising Rey Mysterio in one of those independent interview things. And then basically somebody told Chavo, they're like, "Wasn't Eddie and Rey really good friends on the road?" Chavo says, "No, they weren't." And the fact that everybody is believing this shit, that's the part I found funny about it. And I even went on Instagram when this stuff came out, and Rey's following Chavo, Chavo's following Rey. It was definitely a publicity stunt. Chavo's just having some fun. And I think Eddie is having fun up there laughing at all this.
Bro, didn't I say a couple of months ago something to the benefit of adding Chavo Guerrero on WWE TV involved in this whole Dominic Rey storyline? Ironically enough, now this whole thing is coming out. I feel like Chavo is trying to have some kind of involvement. That'd be fucking awesome.
He still got it. He should. He did a good job as Andrade's manager for a little bit in AEW until he left.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing Chavo's a smart businessman, man. And no offense, but there's a lot of people in the IWC that are just fucking brain dead retarded. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, man. But now, before we get into, our next topic, we're going to be doing a new thing here on the We Are Wrestling podcast once a week. Danny, Ben, and myself, we are going to be picking a random comment that you commented down below. And it could be any type of comment. And this week, since I started the tradition, I'm going to be the one to, share the comment that I want to show you guys. And this was during my vacation, during an extra that Ben recorded about WWE bringing back blood. And this comment was from We Are Wrestling Maniac JC4402. And she said, and I quote, we asked if they should bring blood back. She said, if they want me to watch, yes.
Oh. Yeah, I remember seeing that one.
Simplified it, man. Simplified it.
Hey,
that was our first
right
comment of the week. So for the We Are Wrestling Maniacs out there that are tuning into the podcast, if you want your comment to be highlighted on a future episode, comment any of the videos, because once a week, Ben will pick one, Danny will pick one, and myself.
Not any of the videos, bro. We have a lot of content. The most recent episode. But man, make it something funny and witty and something that we laugh at, man. It just can't be just any ordinary comment.
Hey, there's a reason why JC got that comment right there. If they want me to watch, yes.
Hey, straight to the point, man. No need to beat around the bush.
Watch AEW. Watch AEW, man. You can see Moxley go in the shower and he just starts gushing blood.
He just showers blood.
Yep, Moxley eats gushers.
Blood and Axe body spray.
Moxley would have been great for the Brood, man. He was probably in Gangrel's cup, and Gangrel just spit him all over the audience.
Have a little bit of swish of Mox.
Yep, when John Moxley wakes up, he brushes his teeth until the gums bleed.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
He brushes he combs his hair with razors, bro.
Never mind, that's the comment of the week.
That's the take of the week.
He brushes his hair with razors.
Holy shit.
That one was actually fucking great. All right, you got that, Dan.
Moving on now to our next topic on this week's episode of the We Are Wrestling podcast. Some AEW news came out. AEW star, TNT champion Wardlow wants to wrestle Goldberg. So during an interview with Simon Miller of Woke Culture during WrestleMania weekend in Los Angeles, Wardlow said this, and I quote, well, I actually pointed at him and I said, bet your ass I'm not next. Yeah, you guys just missed it. Goldberg did walk through just a minute ago and we exchanged words. Don't know what's happening behind the scenes, but we both mutually agreed that if the opportunity comes, we would love to see who is really next. So, with Goldberg pretty much, been saying in interviews recently that he plans to retire, within the end of this year. And he's been talking about, having one final run, one final match. How do you feel about AEW star Wardlow going against him?
Okay, so when it comes to Wardlow, obviously a lot of fans were kind of pissed when he lost his push, and he got kind of lost in the shuffle, and there wasn't really much for him after his split from MJF. It kind of his momentum kind of died down a little bit. And from what you guys were saying, he's a very good talent all around. He's built for it. I've seen the dude. He's literally built for this. I don't know what his mic skills are like. I don't know what his promo skills are like, but people seem to really be with the fact that he won the TNT Championship back. So, bravo. I'm definitely down to rehash things, especially if there's a good nuanced direction that they're going to give him a really good, solid push and maybe eventually find his way to MJF's doorstep at some point. They have a lot of history there. So yeah, man, that's great. But in terms of going against Goldberg, would this be a good person for him to take retirement on? Yes. I think it'd be great. I think it'd be fucking sweet. I don't want to see Goldberg anywhere around WWE anymore. He can't perform to the level that he used to. And I feel like in terms of what Goldberg wants to do, I feel like Wardlow could provide and help bounce that balance into that match to make Goldberg look like $1,000 again, so he could actually build his name back up from the reputation he's tarnished with a lot of his botches he's had, biting off more than he can chew. Wardlow can make him look fucking like gold, but also put him over in the same standpoint, So ultimately, I never thought I'd say it, but I'd be for it. I feel like it'd be a good retirement match. It'd be good with a fresh fucking pair of, hands that you could definitely get crossed up in the fucking squared circle with. It's new talent for him, and it's refreshing, and it's to the capability in what he wants to do. It's more rough, it's pro wrestling. It's not as much entertainment, So it would be more believable and sellable in AEW. So again, I'm all for it.
Yeah, so my thoughts now on, AEW star Wardlow wanting to have this dream match with Goldberg. There is only two people that I would want to be, the last opponent for Goldberg. And that is WWE star Braun Breaker or Wardlow. And I think, Wardlow and Goldberg, they have a lot of similarities about each other. The entrance, the prelude coming out, and, Wardlow doing the Powerbomb Symphony while Goldberg did the jackhammer and the spear. So there's a lot of, similarities there between both guys. And honestly, a guy like Goldberg, he can put Wardlow over and take Wardlow to that next level that we haven't seen yet from him. Because I think Wardlow, I was listening to an interview from Chris Van Vliet with Sean Spears.
He's fucking awesome. I love Chris Van Vliet.
And during this interview with Sean Spears, he stated that he would love to get in the ring with Wardlow for 20 minutes because he thinks that he can, take something out of Wardlow to really elevate him to that main event status. And that's the thing with Goldberg. I think he could be that guy that, because a lot of casual fans that loved watching Goldberg growing up, they're going to watch this. And they're going to see a lot of similarities with Wardlow, except Wardlow can work probably better in the ring than Goldberg.
Oh, absolutely. By miles now.
But this is going to be great exposure for Wardlow, and he could become a top guy if Goldberg puts him over. Which, honestly, if there's anybody in AEW, because Goldberg, already stated, like, WWE is not interested in doing one final match with them. So
he's botched too much, man. So yeah, like I said, Wardlow would 100%.
Goldberg's run's been a little lackluster.
It's been entirely lackluster.
And that's the thing. Like, there's already some promoters saying like they want him to go internationally to do like a tour similar to Hulk Hogan did, like in the late 2000s, and just have him go to these countries and have one final match. And if AEW doesn't make the call, I see that happening. But if AEW makes the call, they need to do Wardlow versus Goldberg at All In front of that entire UK crowd, that stadium. That can put asses in seats right there.
I could see it.
So, Danny, how do you feel about this?
Dealing with a situation right now. I wouldn't mind seeing Goldberg and Wardlow have a match together. They're very similar. Obviously when Goldberg comes out, he still gets the Goldberg chance every now and then. They're gonna. I do have a feeling that Tony Khan's gonna be getting Goldberg for All In too. It just makes sense. He's trying. They're trying to sell out. 80,000 seats. So. You got to have big marquee matches if that's the case.
And that could definitely be one for them.
You got to have the Wardlows versus Goldbergs. You got to have
instead of Goldberg, it's going to be Wardlow.
You got to have CM Punk versus Kenny Omega or something. Like you got to have big marquee matches. Exactly.
Absolutely.
But you got to have matches that people actually give a shit about. You can't just have matches with really talented people from, all over the world, but people that aren't really household names, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this Vindigo guy, phenomenal talent, but Vikingo or whatever, however you pronounce his name.
Von Wagner.
That AAA wrestler, right?
But
Von Wagner.
He's not a household name, and they were pretty much, yeah. You got to have Von Wagner, man, and All In too.
Von Wagner.
That is a sure sellout. 90,000 seats, man. If you have Von Wagner headline that event.
I'm sorry, I had to with the Von Wagner. I had to bring it up
great.
again.
That was a great extra. If
It
you guys
really
haven't
was.
checked that out earlier in the week, check it out. But honestly, like, you're right, though. Like, if they want to sell out 80,000 seats, you're going to have these dream matches. And honestly, a Goldberg versus Wardlow match would be probably the best thing AEW can do, not only for their promotion, but for Wardlow, a homegrown AEW talent, because going against a big name like Goldberg, who had one of the greatest undefeated streaks in professional wrestling, Wardlow does the Powerbomb Symphony to him, he can become a world champion right after that.
Sir, I have a question. I have a question. When does All In take place?
August 27th. August 27th.
What day? Is it a Saturday?
Yes, I believe so. I heard
this sounds juicy, so I actually might watch this.
I heard.
Come on over.
He said, "Come on over, man."
What's weird as fuck about this whole event, right, is they have not announced what it's gonna be on, and the whole thing about what the whole thing about this event is, they're gonna be celebrating 100 years of Warner Brothers.
Oh,
shit. That makes me think they're going to be streaming this on HBO Max.
Bro, if they fucking do, I'm so there. I will watch that shit so quick, bro. I have HBO Max, so that's perfect. I'll fucking watch that shit all day.
It should be a really good show, bro.
Oh, yeah, man. I like I said, it sounds juicy, so I think it's something I'm going to have to be a part of. But speaking about All In, our main event involves one of those potential matches as well.
Oh, I can't wait to get into our main event topic. But before we get into that, before we get into our final break, or actually, nah. Guys, we'll be right back with more We Are Wrestling Podcast.
I fucking love that. We'll be back. He's like, fuck that,
man.
I love the attitude change. Just, fuck that. We'll be right back.
We're back, and before we get into our main event topic for this week's episode of the podcast, we're also going to be doing something new as well, where I am going to pick a random tweet in the IWC, because of course, Ben and Danny are not active on Twitter, and I'm always on Twitter, and for some reason, I just get a kick out of it, because there's a lot of crazy, delusional wrestling fans. Sometimes great opinions, other times shitty opinions. And this is going to be a new segment called Tweet of the Week. And from this Twitter user at EngoPW, he tweeted, and I quote, got it right here on the phone. That's right. NXT, since it's developmental, should be treated like free agency. If you don't get drafted to Raw or SmackDown, then you go to NXT. Call-ups should be treated as free agent signings. Another statement he made, Adam Pearce needs to be exclusive to Raw, and someone else needs to be the equivalent on SmackDown. We don't need on-screen GMs, but we do need authority figures on TV once in a while to justify decisions being made.
I
GMs
agree.
shouldn't be the main character, but supporting characters to tie up loose ends in storylines. What are your thoughts on Anjo's take?
I agree, honestly. Like, that's kind of solid. Like, that's bringing like structure back. Like that, I'm with that. I have no complaints there. Like, I solidly agree.
How do you feel,
Oh.
Danny?
A little fun little tidbit of information regarding Ango is before, obviously, a little while before it started here on We Are Wrestling, I actually conversated with him a little bit about possibly doing a podcast with him. So that's a little tidbit of information there.
Oh,
As far as what he
Damn,
said,
Danny said that Ben and I are better than Anjo.
but as far as like, as far as, you know, having like an authority figure on Raw and SmackDown, I do think that's good. I would actually honestly like, I love the on-screen GM roles or whatever, just because I add some flair or whatever to the shows. You know
oh,
what
yeah,
I mean?
dude. Like
I
Eric
would
Bischoff,
love-
my God.
I would love to see Adam Pearce and Paul Heyman as, you know, Paul Heyman, the GM of SmackDown.
It's funny that you
and
said
Adam
that, as
Pearce-
I fucking said the same damn thing if he wasn't a part of the bloodline.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I said
But
the
I
same
mean,
fucking thing, man.
Technically, Roman's not on the show very often.
Shut
so-
your bitch ass up.
And he wasn't with the Usos or Solo on Monday. So
My thoughts on Ango's comments that he made on Twitter. I love that mindset. I love everything about that tweet because I've always said that in sports and wrestling can coexist. And we see, you know, the UFC, we see, you know, the NBA, the NFL, we see all of these, you know, storylines that happen in these sports. And with, you know, wrestling, of course, you know, it's sports entertainment. We get solid storylines and stuff. And honestly, treating NXT like a developmental league, which it already is a developmental league, that's perfect for guys that don't get called up because then they're going to want to work for something. They're going to
Yeah.
want to work to get on Raw. They're going to want to work to get on SmackDown because if you get undrafted in this draft, going to NXT, that's pretty much like the proving ground. You go there and you have to prove yourself.
Mhm.
And then that's how you can get, you know, over into the main roster. Like imagine in 2016 when they did the draft. Heath Slater, he went undrafted. Imagine NXT at the time. It wasn't black and gold. It was what it is now. And Heath Slater didn't get drafted, so he goes to NXT. Has to prove himself. And then maybe he gets over with something. Then he gets called up and he is going to be more important then, or he's going to be more important now than he was before being drafted. Undrafted.
yeah, I definitely that's a good way for them to bring
Great way.
authenticity back to NXT, because like NXT is, bro, this show is so fucking brutal, man. Like it is kind of like their premium live events and their pay-per-views and stuff like that. They're really fun to watch. They do put a lot of time in those, but like the weekly shows, bro, they just drag, and they're just, to me personally, they're not fun to watch at all, which is why I don't watch NXT.
Yeah, no,
Facts,
very
man.
true. And I'm curious to see like who's going to actually get called up for the draft. I'm very excited.
I have two names that I'm pretty sure they're gonna be getting called up. Do you want to know who they are?
Yeah.
Pretty Deadly.
Obviously, we know that.
On Tuesday,
They got thrown into like a fucking river or something.
yeah.
Their way of getting
So,
written
They're
off.
either getting drafted, or which I don't like them as a tag team, you know, but I could see them feuding with like New Day, you know, something like that. They're either getting drafted or they're getting fucking released. So
I think they're going to get drafted because they were booked pretty highly on NXT from what I saw, which I'm not a regular viewer for NXT.
no. But I mean, if you want to bring some authenticity back to NXT the way it used to be, being NXT, you know, because NXT was obviously FCW, and that's where Roman the Shield, whatever, got their start.
So who's
Then
the
they
next
formed
person
it.
that you think is getting drafted?
Braun Breaker,
Yeah, I could see it finally.
Cameron Grimes.
Cameron Grimes is 100%.
Cameron Grimes has been ready to go since fucking like September or something like that. I know he took some time off. He bought a house or whatever. But he's in really good fucking shape, bro. Have you seen his Instagram?
Oh,
Dude's
I bet,
fucking
man. Hasn't been taking bumps for a while.
Dude's fucking shredded. But
Honestly, I'm gonna go with Braun Breaker and Cameron Grimes, definitely. And honestly, I think it's time for Braun Breaker to get, called up. Let's let him, get over with this crowd. And what better time than during, Triple H's era beginning now?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm definitely game
so
for it.
moving on now to the main event topic for this week's episode of the podcast. Some news happened this past Monday. Raw was in Chicago and CM Punk visited WWE. He was backstage. So here are all the details that I got according to PW Insider. Thank you, Danny, for sending this in the group chat. All your hard work doing all the research and being our dirt sheet. For
Man,
Between dirt sheet and shit poster.
It's so hard and exhausting, man, being the one that puts in the most work.
So
and
then
effort on the
stop
channel.
shit posting and then just focus on the fucking news, and then you won't be so fucking exhausted. Half the time, it don't even mean
we're
shit.
acknowledging your hard work, Danny, right now.
Acknowledge me.
But now we're not acknowledging it because we got to get into it. So
All right.
here are the bullet points from PW Insider with
excuse me,
CM
goddamn.
Punk's Raw visit that was backstage this past Monday. So, and here it is. Punk was in Florida over the weekend doing commentary for an MMA promotion, Cage Fury Fighting Champions. When flying out of Tampa, he ended up on the same flight as several WWE talent and staff. At that point, Punk learned WWE was at the All-State Arena, which is close prominently to his home in Chicago. That's usually where AEW will do their Chicago shows. At some point before the show was to begin, Punk arrived at the venue and was brought into the building by other talent.
Oh.
Punk was in a common area in full view of anyone who came past him backstage and ran into Triple H.
Oh.
PW Insider are told by someone who saw the interaction that the two shook hands and Punk asked if it was okay that he visited and Triple H had time. Could they speak for 2 minutes? Whoop, lost the article. Hold on 1 second. Apologize. All right.
Difficulties.
Okay, so Triple H allegedly said he had to make sure with the big guy it was okay. A reference to Vince McMahon. It was perhaps 1 to 2 minutes interaction, if even that. Punk remained in the area and spoke to a number of talent what happened to be walking by, including The Miz, clearing whatever issues were between the two during the period when Punk was on WWE backstage. Because both of the guys, they had a lot of issues when Punk left.
Mm.
Those who saw Punk greeted him warmly. There were some who had, "What was he doing here?" reaction. But that was something said later by those who hadn't actually ran into him. Punk was never behind any closed doors or rooms, remaining in that common area. There were no secret meetings or anything of that sort. Within 20 minutes or so, Punk was sent word by WWE security that he wasn't going to be allowed to remain, and he exited. PW Insider are told that CM Punk was respectful of that decision, said his goodbyes, and left. He was also respected by everyone during this entire time he was backstage. Based on the response from those within AEW, this was something most, if anyone in AEW knew was going to happen at the immediate reaction was that this had to be some sort of lie that was being passed around. Even within WWE, the initial reaction that Punk had even visited was complete disbelief. And with the exceptions of those who actually saw him, many thought it was a fake story. PW Insider had a WWE executive call, and asked if the site had been hacked after they broke the story and Punk was backstage. One person under contract at WWE who saw CM Punk there said and came off as Punk was just there trying to kill whatever past heat there was between himself and The Miz, and theorized that may have been why he wanted to speak with Triple H as well. As I said, isn't 9 to 10 years enough time of carrying whatever bad blood there is? Wow, that was a lot of shit that we got with CM Punk's, latest visit to WWE, because this is the first time in 9 years CM Punk, decided to visit and, squash some beef that he had in the past. How do you guys feel about all of these, reports coming out about CM Punk's latest WWE visit?
So fucking sweet. Like, yeah, that's great. No, that's it's a breath of fresh air. It's really nice to see very bitter people get over shit. However long it's been, it doesn't matter what happened, X, Y, and Z. It's good to know that even CM Punk himself is on a level of forgiveness now where they can just fucking kiss and make up. They can lick their wounds and keep going. They can throw some mud on it, and maybe eventually one day down the road that there could be some open possibilities. Never say never at this point. CM Punk initiated it. It wasn't like, oh, like he's saying for years, like, oh, fucking they called, I would listen, but I'm not gonna go out and fucking go out of my way to do all this shit. And what just happened? That's the biggest thing, is he was there to squash beef, even with Triple H, which was a huge fucking deal.
Huge.
And even like waited on Vince's okay, and respectfully left when asked to, and understood entirely. And it wasn't it wasn't just a, an AEW thing or a WWE thing. Like, it was handled really professionally from what it sounds like. And there was no secret meeting. There was no way of anything being hidden. So this could be the most untouchable story there is, because I don't see anything getting misconstrued because it was so out in the open, Yeah. I think it's a good thing. I'm always super positive about bridges being rebuilt. I'm especially when it comes to massive needle movers like CM Punk, and WWE is realistically where he got fucking huge. That's realistically where he built his fucking name. So I have to, I really have to give respect where it's due, because that's huge for CM Punk and for what he built as his reputation of being an asshole, and initiated the first move into hopefully eventually, rebuilding a relationship. And if that's the case, I'm fucking for it, man. Bravo. That is the best I could speak upon with CM Punk in a long time, and that genuinely brightens my day.
And I want to say something. Hearing those words from you and, taking accountability, because we know how you felt about CM Punk, this entire time.
Oh, yeah.
Really shows a lot of character from you. Just want to put that out there. And before, Danny, you give your thoughts on the whole, thing, all these reports that happened from PW Insider. The reason why I think PW Insider are very specific with the details that were given to them about this whole CM Punk visit is because they don't want an AEW WWE lawsuit to happen where they think that WWE is tampering, CM Punk, trying to get him back with the promotion. So the fact that this reporter is being 150% authentic and real with all of us in the IWC, I respect that a lot for PW Insider.
I just respect every party around in this situation.
It's all genuine. It's all real. There's nothing fake to it. There's no false narrative stories that are coming out. I respect whoever, wrote these reports from PW Insider.
And for once, we got like a legitimate answer. It was just, dude was there. There's no secrets, and we got why he was there. That's it. And honestly, it's nice to just hear a straight to the point, no beat around the bush or fucking updates or anything. Like, it was just solid fucking news. And it's nice to hear, because that news could also ask a million questions that we're asking right now. So, I'm here for it.
How do you feel, Danny?
Punk lives very, very close to Allstate Arena. So, it's not like he went out of his way to do that. But again, obviously he had to be brought in. He did the right move.
He made the decision to go.
I do think, like, since this whole media scrum incident, Like, for the most part, Punk's remained quiet. He hasn't really outed much except for the little Instagram little tantrum that he did a little while ago. But like, I do feel like he's grown from this. I do feel
Yeah.
like when Punk comes back,
Mhm.
and like this is a clear example that the Punk that's going to be coming back to AEW is not the same Punk that left. You know what I mean? I mean, if you would have told
Same.
me 8-9 months ago, that Punk is going to willingly go to a WWE show and try to squash beef with, Triple H, there was a lot of bad blood there.
Mm-hmm.
I would have been like, bro, you're out of your fucking mind. But the fact that it happened,
And on
you know what I
his account too, like that shows a lot of balls, and that shows a lot of growth for him.
It's a fire that a lot of us didn't think they were going to be able to put out.
And another story,
Damn right, my man.
another story that I just read about is Tony Khan sat down with CM Punk and Jericho and had a meeting recently before obviously Punk comes back in June, and
Mhm.
apparently the meeting went really well. So the bridges are being rebuilt slowly. Obviously, it's Rome
And
wasn't
all
built in a day.
around, it's fantastic.
You know what I mean? I do feel like everybody saw what a gigantic mistake this was. And
Mhm.
I have heard a lot of reports of, Punk, realizing how, how bad that whole incident made AEW look and how important AEW is to the pro wrestling business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because WWE can only hire so many people. If it wasn't for AEW, a lot of these guys would not be able to feed their families and make a career out of doing what they love and what I personally think they're good at. I do think AEW is, besides WWE, the biggest game in town.
It is.
Since
You know what I mean?
WCW, because TNA was
Fuck
big,
that, it's bigger.
but like TNA is not as big as WCW was.
Oh yeah, dude. And AEW is already blowing out WCW's water. So it's like AEW is
I wouldn't say that. Until
they're
they
getting there,
have
bro.
83 weeks,
They're
man.
getting there. They're
Yeah.
getting there.
But like, good on Punk, man. Like I'm a huge Punk fan. I've been saying for months, he's coming back. He's coming back. There's no way in hell he's not coming back, And I do feel like he's going to be trying to redeem himself, and I feel like this is a good start.
Very good.
Well said. And, that's another thing, too. Just like, I gave credit to Ben for what he said. I got to give credit to you, Danny, as well, because this whole time you have said that, CM Punk is coming back. You said that, and you were absolutely right. But instead of coming on here and, shoving it in our faces, you, really gave us, the real reasons. You really, analyzed it and executed it perfectly. Well said.
Yeah, man. I'm just, like I said, man, I do hope that everybody can just coexist for the benefit of the company. I'm not saying they have to be friends and they have to go play fucking pool and shit. But like, I do feel like, for the benefit of the company and the benefit of the business, I do hope that everybody can squash their differences and we can have a killer show in August, man, at Wembley Stadium. It's going to be awesome.
My thoughts on, PW Insider's reports about CM Punk being backstage. Fantastic. So happy to hear that CM Punk is in a better headspace. And like for him to go backstage to WWE and take accountability for what happened 9 years ago, where he's been pretty, outspoken about how much he hates and despises WWE, how he hates, Hunter, hates Vince. And the fact that like he really took accountability here, like I agree with what you said, Danny, about I think him realizing that for once in his career, he fucked up. And he's really reflecting, doing a lot of self-reflecting, and he's really starting to take accountability for his actions. And I think, him seeing a bunch of WWE talent and going to Chicago, he realized, you know what? I think it's time for me to squash the beef that, I had in WWE with people. So he probably wanted to go there, squash the beef with The Miz, wanted to squash beef with Triple H, probably the main priority of this trip. was to squash his beef with Triple H, to let him know that I don't hold any grudges against you. Probably even wanted to talk to Seth Rollins as well, because they were pretty close friends at one point, and they both have said some pretty fucked up things about each other within the past few years. I think that CM Punk realized during the All Out media scrum that he really fucked up, and I think he's just in a way better headspace now, because when he first came to AEW, he was in a great headspace. He was a team player, putting other people before himself, and, being a true leader. But then I noticed after he came back from that injury, he was just more bitter. He was depressed. He just wasn't himself. And that's where, the issues with the Elite happened. That's where the issues with Colt Cabana came out, during the media scrum and, the promos. And I think CM Punk was not really in the best headspace during that time. And I think with him, being away from the business for so long and, finding the love, finding the desire that he has for the business that we love, that we talk about here on the We Are Wrestling channel, that was missing for a while. And I think, he loves this business again. And I think that's why, he's best friends right now with Dax and Cash, because they both, share the same interests with CM Punk. CM Punk in his backyard literally has a wrestling ring in there. And I just think that, CM Punk, he's had a lot of, media problems in the wrestling community. A lot of people love to twist his words, turn him into the villain. And there's even people that are, saying this whole thing with CM Punk that, he went to WWE backstage just so in case, he wants to leave AEW, he can go there when he leaves. So, there's going to be people in the IWC that are just it's never going to end. But the fact that CM Punk is making these moves, and PW Insider did a fantastic job, because they're not, portraying him, as this, villain like every other media source out there does. I think, CM Punk is ready to move on from all of this. And I heard he even wanted to talk to the Elite, but the Elite, aren't ready to talk to him yet, unless they already have, and we don't know.
Well, yeah. I mean, Jericho didn't want to talk to him either, but they recently sat down. So there's still over a month until he comes back. Anything is possible. But I do feel like when CM Punk comes back, it's going to be a Punk that we haven't seen before, or at least a Punk we haven't seen in a long time.
Exactly. And that's the thing, man. For me, just seeing him, mentally, happy, that's all I care about, with any superstar, any wrestler out there that, puts their bodies on the line, that, entertain all of us. I just want what's best for them at the end of the day. And when CM Punk comes back, I really hope that, the same stuff doesn't happen. I didn't like seeing that side of CM Punk. I really didn't. When he came back to pro wrestling, you saw, he felt like a little kid on Christmas morning when he first came back. And then after the injury, comes back and he's just more bitter and just an egotistical prick. I don't want that CM Punk. And I think, with these reports, definitely showing a lot of growth, because who would have thought he would talk to Triple H?
I thought fucking Punk was gonna hold those grudges until he was on his deathbed.
And maybe CM Punk will be a future WWE Hall of Famer now. That opens the door for maybe when he decides to hang the boots up. Maybe he does do his final match in WWE to make it right. Maybe, he just makes appearances like Ultimate Warrior did, because back in the day, that was somebody that had a lot of issues with, Vince McMahon and WWE. And then he was able to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Jeff Jarrett was another guy too.
Bret Hart.
I think CM Punk, is doing the right thing. And that is somebody I think could be talking in his ear, is Bret Hart, because they are pretty close.
Yep. And Bret Hart's obviously close with Dax and Cash, so it makes sense.
Bret Hart had a lot of beef with Vince McMahon over the screw job, and he was able to squash it years later.
And over Owen. Owen was a huge factor.
Of course.
So, it's good.
Any final thoughts on any of the topics that we talked about on this week's episode?
I think we fucking nailed it, bro, to be honest with you. I think we said everything that we had to say and more, man. It's a good episode. Good to have you back. We went an hour and a half, man. Some interruptions, but nothing too major. I mean, I had a blast, man. It's good to be back in the saddle again.
Any final thoughts, Ben? All right. And it does feel great to be back. And let us know in the comment section below, guys, what your thoughts are on any of the topics that we talked about this week. If you guys enjoyed this week's episode of the podcast, make sure to smash that like button now. If you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, subscribe, turn on the post notifications. The link's down in the description below. You can go follow all of us on our social medias and other YouTube pages, all that down below. In addition, you want shorter clips of the podcast, we'll be posting them over on our social media pages. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. All the links down below. And, of course, to all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide. New episodes are coming out every Saturday. And, of course, you already know, we are taking over. Peace.